Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started. Appreciate everybody being here tonight, everybody watching from home on our live Facebook. So we'll go ahead and get going here. So if y'all will bow with me, I'll open us up in our invocation, please. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we just come to you today, Lord. And Lord, just thank you for this awesome, beautiful day that you've created for us. And thank you for allowing us to safely be here and to come together as a local community to talk about the business of our county this week. And Lord, just be with all those that are suffering with COVID or other sicknesses, and be with the families and comfort them, and wrap your loving arms around those that have lost loved ones. And so, Lord, there's just so many that are hurting with this virus. We just ask for your healing hand for each and every one of them. And Lord, we just come to you tonight and just ask for your blessings on this meeting. We ask that everything's said and done to honor and glorify you. And Lord, we just pray for our first responders at this time of 20-year observance that we are in the midst of. And Lord, just thank you for all of our first responders and those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice and to protect us all. And Lord, just give us a great evening and safe travel home. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We'll stand, we'll pledge to the American flag and then to our Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and to the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation. Thank you all. You may be seated, please. At this time, we'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Blakemore.
Present.
Commissioner Askey.
Here.
Chairman Whitfield.
Here.
Commissioner Hart.
Here.
Commissioner Stoltz.
Present.
Okay, all members are present here tonight in person. Board members, you do have the agenda in front of you for tonight's meeting that was published on our website and Facebook 1 week ago today. Is there any modifications, changes, or any concerns about the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move for an approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Commissioner Brian Hart's motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Blakemore. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as presented. At this time, we do have our public hearing to anyone that would like to come forward about our 2022 General Fund and our FY22 Enterprise Fund, Special Revenue Fund budget of the governing authority for Walker County. And this is for our budget that would start on October 1st, 2021, that would run through September 30th of 2022. The detailed budget is on the website that you can reference to, or we do have some copies here tonight. This is our second public meeting about our budget. This will be the final meeting. The board will be able to take action on this budget later on this evening in this agenda. There has been only one modification made to the budget since the original release of the first draft, and that is an adjustment that Sheriff Wilson requested. He actually did not change his total budget amount, but he did send a written request that we take $20,000 out of personnel and move it into a capital line item. So again, he didn't change his overall budget. It was just repositioning. He needed to move that $20,000 to get a capital item that he's going to need later in the fiscal year. Other than that, there's been no other changes, modifications, or anything of that nature. So if we have anyone in the public that would like to come up and speak, or questions or anything about the budget, we would ask you to come up and do so at this time. Okay, hearing none, we'll close out our public hearing and we'll move to the next item on our agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of our public hearing and our regular scheduled meeting back on August the 26th. So board members, in front of you, you do have a copy of the minutes of our regular scheduled meeting from August 26, 2021. We have a motion to approve those minutes from that meeting.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Askew. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as presented. Okay, at this time is the time that we allot every meeting for anyone from the public that would like to come up and speak and address the board. So is there anyone here tonight that would like to come address the board?
I shouldn't.
Okay, if you would come up to the podium, please, and state your name, and everyone's allotted up to 5 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Janice Williams, and I come bearing gifts. I have a very exciting announcement that is going to affect our county and Dade County and Catoosa County, and it's going to benefit everybody. We promote Walker County for its natural beauty. That's what brings tourists in. A lot of times, it's on the weekends and on holidays. Our animal control is closed on weekends and holidays. And when people are out, and there is one firsthand with a tourist that I can attest to, when people are out enjoying the nature, sometimes they come across an injured wildlife animal. We have no resources in our area for wildlife, and it's against the law to take a Georgia animal into Tennessee. So we have 6 federally licensed wildlife rehabbers within 30 minutes of us, but we can't use them. And the alternative is a 3-hour drive. So I've been working with I got to get the initials right, TWRA, Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and also Georgia's DNR. And I got a call back from Lieutenant Hubbard this morning with Georgia, and either tomorrow or Monday, we will have the written memorandum of agreement that Walker, Catoosa, and Dade can take wildlife across state lines to Tennessee. So instead of having to drive 3 hours or not knowing what to do, they're going to allow us to cross state lines and do that. The memorandum agreement is they're going to work out the rabies vector for animals that frequently transmit it, but the wildlife rehabbers that we have within 30 minutes do songbirds, turtles, chipmunks, raptors, ducks, geese, possums, groundhogs, squirrels, bunnies, and that's what we see the most of, because on holidays and weekends when they can't get the county, I get the call. And we've had 2 large blue herons that, what can I do with, I can't even lift a large blue heron or transport it. And one passed away, but the people, they got it healthy enough. But it's actually against the law for a citizen to keep a wild animal to rehab it themselves. So this is a tremendous gift, and the wildlife rehabbers have been working for a decade to try to get that to happen. And the 2 states have come together, and it's tremendous, and it's an exciting thing for us. And with that in mind, and we can't do deer or game animals, and the deer, it's because of the CWD thing, which is a brain thing. So those, we would definitely have to call DNR. But we had an injured deer recently, and when we were finally able to get through to them, because it's a weekend again, they said, we're 3 hours away, just go ahead and shoot it. And I'm familiar with firearms, as were the other people that I was with, but not every citizen is, and that's kind of an unfortunate thing that we have to do up here. What I would like, they've given us this gift, and it is a gift. What I would like on our part for us to do is, on weekends and holidays, people that visit here, most places, if it's an animal, regardless of wild, domestic, whatever, they call animal control. And our animal control obviously doesn't do wildlife, and we're not open on weekends and holidays when people are encountering these animals. So I would like to propose for our county and the other 2, and I'll be speaking with them as well, to have our voicemail at the shelter and animal control say, if you have a wildlife emergency, here's the number to call. And we can also provide you with the wildlife rehabbers for specific animals if you'd like to include that information. But that way, like the people that contacted me, it was 4 hours, and we don't want people to leave Walker County with that as their memory of their outdoor experience, is a groundhog with a bloody head that it took 4 hours to figure out what to do with. We want them to have pictures of the beautiful area and share those. So if you all could consider doing that, have that on the voicemail, it would make it happen like that. And those wildlife rehabbers are 24/7 every day of the week, so a holiday or a weekend wouldn't be a problem for it. And if possibly, it would really be great, since they're 30 minutes away now, if we get a situation like a blue heron. I can't physically pick up a blue heron, it was very large, but our animal control does have a proper vehicle to transport an animal and the proper equipment. If possible, if those types of situations. Now, I do the vultures myself. I've taken the vultures and the hawks, but I can't physically do a bird that size, but we do have vehicles that could do that. If in situations like those, maybe the county could help, because it's not a 3-hour drive now, it's a less than 30-minute drive. Oops, sorry. So I wanted to throw that suggestion out.
Awesome news, thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Something we could surely look at, and shouldn't be a problem pulling that together, I don't believe.
Good deal.
Thank you very much.
Strong work. Thank you very much.
Anyone else that'd like to speak tonight? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to our next item on our agenda. We do have an unfinished business item from our last meeting, and this is a request from a rezone from industrial to an R3 residential for property located at 0 Happy Valley Road, Rossville, tax map and parcel number 0-136-017. So I think our applicant's here, so if you want to bring us an update.
Thank you for seeing me again. I appreciate y'all letting me come back. I didn't have all my information last time, and so I do now. So just as a reminder, my name is Hamilton Brock. I'm with 12 Stones Property Group in Chattanooga, representing a client who would like to develop the property from Ms. Cash of approximately 75 luxury cottages, ranging from probably 1,600 square feet anywhere to 2,300 square feet. This is a unique type of product, especially to this area, because they're actually single-family cottages, but they'll be rentals. And so I was asked a couple weeks ago, maybe a little bit more than that now, by the Planning and Zoning to do a few things, and now I have some information. I was asked, first of all, to talk to both the principals at Stone Creek Elementary and Ridgeland High School. I was able to speak with Karen Hughes at Ridgeland, and I was able to get a pretty detailed email from Brandon Musgrove. And so I just want to give a quick update on that. Both principals were excited about the opportunity for a very high-end development for rentals. One of the things that excited Karen the most was she said, I've got teachers renting apartments in Soddy Daisy all the way down to Dalton. And so she said the fact that you could have something that close in our backyard would certainly be a huge benefit to the community. They did say that they were both at capacity in their schools. And Karen was emphatic, saying, I'm going to educate every kid that comes through here. So it's a challenge, and she's not sure how to do that yet, but she did say nonetheless that both she and Brandon were excited about that opportunity. There was also a request to get a traffic study done, which I do have. I'll be honest, I'm not an expert on traffic studies, but I did have a bunch of copies printed out and given to me today. The traffic study, in short, basically ran an analysis of 25 acres of this property from a comparison of 75 to 80 homes on this for the traffic pattern versus an industrial use application for that same property, and just basically ran a comparison. At the end of the day, there was maybe a 5% discrepancy in the amount of traffic, so it was not a huge difference either way. Morning and evening, as you take kids to school or come home, you may obviously have a little bit higher side on the residential, but during the day, it was a higher usage for the industrial side of it. So again, I'm not an expert in understanding traffic studies, but again, it did have some good comparative analysis from that. A third thing that was requested from me was to figure out the easement that runs basically right through the middle of that property. Fortunately, and thank you to Robert Wardlaw for giving me the owner's name, I was able to speak to Paul Bunn, who's one of the developers of that property behind us. Apparently, he's been in talks, and you guys obviously know that for quite a while, but he, very nice, said that he is planning on building a 50,000 square foot, I guess, rebar manufacturing or bending operation. I'm sorry, I don't understand exactly what it was, but it's a 50,000 square foot building that will have about 25 employees to begin with. Down the road, he may add another 20,000 square feet with an additional, 20 to 25 employees. I asked him if he would be willing to move that easement, and he said he was willing to have the discussion with my client as we go forward. He obviously has gone very far down the road. So if you can kind of picture this property, if that road splits Mrs. Cash's property right in half, he's not willing to concede or move the easement closer to Stone Creek, because that property is directly behind, that part of the property is directly behind his, which is where he's laid out on his site plan, the 50,000. To the right of that, towards Richland High School, he is open to doing that. And so my client has said that he also would be willing to pay for and go forward with that. I don't have anything in writing as of yet, but of course, if you do approve conditionally on that contingent to rezone to R3, he will begin quickly the due diligence on that side of things. So those were the 3 requests that were made to me a couple weeks ago, and that's the information that I've got tonight for the board. So any questions or?
Questions of the board?
Yes, so you've talked to the Barbender group and
The what group, I'm
the
sorry?
Barbender.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Paul.
Sorry, Paul.
Yeah,
Sorry, yes,
that's
sir.
the name of their company.
Yes, sir.
So you're saying that they're willing to move that driveway south, correct?
Yes, sir. He's willing to have that discussion. He was very nice. He says, I totally get what you're looking for. He says, I don't really care how I get in there. He says, but your client's going to pay for it. My client is aware of that. My client, if you build those 80 homes, is going to have to clear the entire property anyway. So I don't know that part is an additional expense other than taking that road and moving it over. I have no idea what that cost is, and that is a part of my client's, if that's a contingent, then my client may get to do a study and go, I can't afford that based on the market rate rentals, and I just don't know. But he would love at least the opportunity to have that rezoning contingent upon that so that he can begin his studies and get with a civil engineer to figure that out.
Right, because that easement, they want to move to the south line of this property, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All the way
Closer towards Ridgeland.
Right, abutted on the south line of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's exactly right.
Yeah. And the easement now is a paved easement, correct?
Yes, sir, I believe it is.
Yeah, I looked at it
It
yesterday.
is.
I didn't know that it was
It
paved
is.
yet. I looked at it. Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
Any other questions? Concerns, comments from the board?
Well, it sounds like that the conversation has been opened up between the two about the easement, and I think that's the main concern that we have. Outside of that, I think the project's fully supported. I think it's a good project. Would the board want to move to contingently give this rezone with the documentation provided that the details are worked out on moving this easement, or do we want to table it until they can get that information? I just feel like I think if we go ahead and move forward with the rezone, it gives them an opportunity to really get serious about spending the money to determine whether they can afford to do it or not. Of course, if they can't, the rezone, it'd be null and void. It'd be just for this project, contingent on that easement being worked out.
I'm good to make a
just-
motion to approve this with a contingent that they bring us proof they're moving the easement.
Okay, so we do have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Blakemore to approve this with conditions, and that condition being that you come back with documentation and verification that that's been resolved between the two properties owners, and
We need
willing to-
that reviewed by our attorney, and just,
Attorney.
just get that information to us, and let our attorney review that and give us the go-ahead on that.
Y'all's legal counsels could work directly with our county attorney to expedite that process.
It'd be great to get out of my hands, so that'd be fantastic.
Okay. All right, so we do have a motion on the floor to approve this with those conditions. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll make a second.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion of the board?
No, sir.
Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved with those conditions.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great time.
Commissioner Hatfield, I forgot to mention our state representative, he helped with this, what I was telling y'all about, and I told him I would make sure that said.
Okay.
He said if he can't get a hold of somebody, drop my name and I'll make a call, and he did. So I asked him today if I could say that he helped, and his quote is, yes, I'm Representative Mike Cameron, and I approve this message.
Okay, very good.
Thank you for all that.
Yes. Okay, under a new business, we do have a proclamation I'd like to read tonight. This is by the Walker County Board of Commissioners, Patriot Day 2021. Whereas on September the 11th, 2001, nearly 3,000 people lost their lives in a terrorist attack on our nation. And whereas on 9/11 was the deadliest incident in U.S. history for firefighters, police, and other first responders, resulting in nearly 400 deaths. And whereas we grieve as a nation, but we are strengthened by the selflessness acts of our courage and compassion demonstrated by our emergency workers with tirelessly rendered aid while in distress. And whereas the federal government has established September 11th of each year as Patriot Day in remembrance of those who lost, and to commend the noble acts of countless heroes who risked their lives that faithful day. And whereas the community encouraged to attend events like the Patriots Day service at the Walker County Courthouse and the 20th anniversary ceremony at Lane's Funeral Home to support area first responders. Therefore, I, Shannon K. Whitfield, on behalf of the Walker County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim September 11th, 2021 as Patriots Day in Walker County, Georgia, in honor of the courageous men and women who gave their lives in service to others. Furthermore, I encourage all citizens to observe a moment of silence between 8:46 a.m. to honor the innocent victims who perished as results of the terrorist attack on September 11th, 2001, signed and sealed the 9th day of September 2021. We do have one that we would like to present to Matt Mills, and we'd like you to come up. We'd like to get a picture real quick with the board and you, and appreciate your dedication and your service, and you're coming to represent your team at the fire department. Thank you very much for your service, and we want to present this proclamation to you and your team and say thank you for your dedication to our community. Thank you. All right, so where do you want us, Joe? Oh, there you go.
Maybe in the middle of it.
Yeah, there you go. A little bigger space, don't you?
All right, you guys ready? Wow. 3, 2, 1.
Very good. Thank you again.
Appreciate you, man.
Okay, we have our second one here for Constitution Week by the Walker County Board of Commissioners, Constitution Week 2021. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America embodies the principles of limited government and a republic dedicated to rule by law, and whereas September 17th, 2021 marks the 234th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas William Few Jr. of Georgia, one of the 39 brave men who served in the Constitutional Convention and signed their name to the document that would change the world. And whereas it's the privilege and in the best interest of the county and the nation that we express our gratitude to the forefathers who sacrificed, served as constant reminders of the high price of liberty. And whereas the Daughters of the American Revolution has dedicated the month of September each year to the cause of the great soldiers that sacrificed their lives. And whereas this celebration of the Constitution was started by the Daughters of the American Revolution and adopted by the U.S. Congress and signed into law by President Dwight D. Eisenhower on August 2nd, 1956. I, Chairman Shannon K. Whitfield, on behalf of the Walker County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim September the 12th through the 18th as Constitution Week in Walker County and ask our citizens to refrain the idea that framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through the guardians of the liberty, of our liberty. Signed and sealed the 9th day of September 2021. And we have here with us Miss Rita Parker.
And Mary Beth Dye.
Okay, and Mary Beth Dye. Okay, y'all come up. We want to get a picture with y'all as well, with the board. We appreciate y'all coming up and bringing recognition to this great cause and event as well. So we want to present this to y'all here tonight. Thank y'all for being here. We'll let y'all get here in the middle here with us.
With all these burly men.
You get us all in, Joe? We need
Yeah, I'll just back up a little bit more.
Okay.
That'll be all right. Commissioner Hart, if you'll slide over just a little bit more, and so we can get everybody in.
No, yeah, just hold it right there between the two of them. Y'all both. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Perfect.
No? All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, we got it.
Very good. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate it so much.
Okay, now we have a resolution here on our budget tonight. Resolution R 39-21, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Walker County to adopt the general fund budget containing estimates of proposed revenues and expenditures for the year 2022, beginning October 1, 2021, and ending on September 30th of 2022. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Walker County is the governing authority of Walker County, Georgia, and whereas on August 12th, 2021, the Chairman of the Board of Commissioners and the Finance Officer prepared and submitted a proposed general fund budget for fiscal year 2022 and placed copies of the budget in the Commissioner's office and online at the Walker County GA.gov for review by the county residents. And whereas notice was published in the August 11, 2021 in the Walker County Messenger, the legal organ of Walker County, that the proposed budget was available for review and that a public hearing on the proposed budget would be held on August 26, 2021 and September 9th, 2021. And notice was also published on August 11th, 2021 in the Walker County Messenger that the general fund budget would be considered for adoption at the public meeting on September the 9th, 2021. And whereas a public hearing was held on August 26, 2021 and September 9th, 2021 to receive public comment on the proposed budget pursuant to OCGA 36-81-5. And whereas the Board of Commissioners, having studied the proposed budget, deems the approval of the budget to be in the best interest of Walker County. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, Georgia, that the budget attached hereto as Exhibit A and made a part hereof the year beginning October 1, 2021 and ending on September 30th, 2022 is adopted and approved to be effective on October 1st, 2021. So resolved and adopted the 9th day of September 2021. So do we have a motion to approve the presented budget?
Motion to approve the presented budget. Yes.
We do have a motion by Commissioner Hart. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any board members opposed? Hearing none, the budget is approved unanimous. This one's going to read almost identical, so it's going to sound like a repeat, but I feel like this being our annual budget, it's important that we read these for the record. Resolution R 40-21, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Walker County to adopt the enterprise funds and special revenue budget containing estimates of proposed revenues and expenditures for fiscal year 2022, beginning October 1, 2021, ending September 30th, 2022. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Walker County is the governing authority of Walker County, Georgia, and whereas on August 12th, 2021, the chairman of the board and the county finance officer prepared and submitted a proposed enterprise fund and special revenue budget for fiscal year 2022, and placed copies of the budget in the Commissioner's office and online at walkercountyga.gov for review by the county residents. And whereas notice is published on August the 11th, 2021 in the Walker County Messenger, the legal organ of Walker County, that the proposed budget was available for review and that a public hearing on the proposed budget would be held on August 26, 2021 and September 9th, 2021. And notice was also published on August 11th, 2021 in the Walker County Messenger that the general fund budget would be considered for adoption at the public meeting on September 9th, 2021. Whereas a public hearing was held on August 26, 2021 and September 9th, 2021 to receive public comment on the proposed budget pursuant to OCGA 36-81-5. And whereas the Board of Commissioners, having studied the proposed budget, deems the approval of the budget to be in the interest of Walker County, therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, Georgia, that the budget attached hereto as Exhibit B and made part hereof for the year beginning October 1, 2021 and ending September 30th, 2022 is adopted and approved to be effective October 1, 2021, so resolved and adopted the 9th day of September 2021. So we have a motion from the board to approve this portion of our budget.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Stoltz. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Hart. Any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any board member opposed? Hearing none, this budget is also approved unanimously. Okay, I'm going to read this resolution, and then I'm going to ask our district attorney just to come up and share some brief comments with us here in just a moment. He can kind of give you a little overview of what this is about and answer any questions of the board here in just a moment. Resolution R-41-21, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Walker County to amend the fiscal year 2021 budget to reallocate funds for the district attorney's office. So this is for the current budget that we're in, 2021, for clarification. Whereas OCGA 36-81-3 provides for the county to adopt a summary line legal level of budgetary control whereby the governing authority controls county spending, and whereas Resolution R-019-17 established the legal level of budgetary control for Walker County as a summarized object classification level, personnel expense, operational expense, and capital outlay. And whereas the district attorney has requested a budget amendment to reallocate $19,000 in personnel expenses and $19,000 from the district attorney's office drug forfeiture fund to capital vehicle to replace a considerably used department vehicle. And whereas there is an available amount to be moved from personnel expense and the drug forfeiture account to capital vehicles without interfering with the operation, and therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, Georgia, hereby amends the FY 2021 budget to reallocate $19,000 from the district attorney's personnel services, salary and wages line item to the district attorney's capital vehicle general line item, and further resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Walker County, Georgia hereby accept the district attorney's request to transfer $9,000 from the drug forfeiture fund to the district attorney's capital vehicle general line item. So resolved and adopted the 9th day of September 2021. So we do have our DA here with us today. So Chris, if you'd like to come up and just give a brief overview of this and tell us what you're trying to get accomplished.
Basically, the vehicle for the DA that's provided is just very old. I think Mr. Franklin got that in his second of 4 terms. It's pushing 300,000 miles. It has a number of repairs needed on it. So we needed to replace that. We did unfortunately have 4 attorneys leave us this year, which created the personnel surplus. So rather than asking for that in the new budget, figured we would just ask to reallocate that money. And in discussions with all 4 of the counties of the circuit, we agreed the counties would split half the cost of the new vehicle and we would take half the cost out of forfeiture funds. So that's what the request is. And I think the next resolution is the actual PO for the purchase of the vehicle.
Yes. Yes, very good. Is there any questions of our board members?
No, sir.
And this is something we've had quite a bit of conversation with,
Right.
also with the other 3 counties as well, being Catoosa, Chattooga, and Catoosa. Dade, Catoosa, and Chattooga, and Walker combined, which is the Lookout Mountain Judicial Circuit. Walker County is the physical agent for the district attorney's office. And so all of their funding, purchase order requests, we also manage the local employees' payroll and
Right.
things of that nature as well. So,
And then bill the other 3 for their portions.
right, and those portions are prorated based off of population. So Walker County's pro rata portion of the district attorney's budget is currently at 39% based off of our population. So all of the other counties were in agreement, and also you'll see in your packet, Chris did send also a letter to all of the counties just for good documentation. We've had our CPA look at this. Everything is in order. Don't see any issues with approving this budget amendment. So do we have a motion of the board to move forward with this resolution being approved?
Motion to approve.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, this resolution passes unanimously. Okay, and then the next item that we have here, as Chris Hart mentioned, there's a purchase order 2021-1603 to Mountain View Ford Chrysler Dodge for a 2021 Dodge Durango for Walker County District Attorney Office totaling $37,988.50 from funding of the FY 2021 budget that we just did. But then again, our policy is with our Enabling Act is any capital purchases over $25,000, those still come before the board, even with those being in the budget. And so that's why this purchase order is on the agenda here tonight for approval, so our district attorney can move forward with this purchase. So do we have a motion to approve this purchase order?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Stoltz. Do we hear a second?
Second?
We have a second by Commissioner Hart. Any further discussion of the board?
No, sir.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, this purchase order is also approved. Appreciate you coming and speaking and being here tonight as well. Okay, we do have another purchase order, purchase order 2021-2132. This is to Pi Barker Fire and Safety LLC for the fire suppression system replacement, relocation in our main courthouse. You'll see a proposal here. This is a little bit tricky to follow, but if you look at the scope of work, it talks about all of the items that they're doing, but it represents a couple of different company options for this. So the recommendation of our safety committee and our staff is to take that first option, which price includes the labor and equipment material, for $33,523 even. That was the best option that they felt like to get everything done that needs to be done to give the protection that we need for our main courthouse and can get that done as quickly as possible. So there's been, we've had a good relationship with Pi Barker. They manage all of our suppression systems, all of our fire monitoring systems. A few years ago, that was kind of a hodgepodge among several companies. And quite frankly, there was some buildings that had been missed over the years. And we had a lot of fire extinguishers and things that had not been inspected in, let's say, many years. And so once we looked at different companies, had different companies give us some proposals back a few years ago. Pi Barker, we have this now under one vendor that manages all of our internal fire safety, managing our fire extinguishers, tagging, inspections, fire suppression, monitoring alarms, everything that we do with them. So this is a capital expenditure, again, being over $25,000. We do have this funding in our capital expenditures for our building improvements. So this is an item that would come out of our budget and would not be any changes or amendments to the budget. So do we have any questions, comments, concerns about this request?
Chair, I would like David Brown to step up and maybe tell us a little bit about this operation.
David, you'd like to come up? I know you've been heading this project up. Could you give a little more background and maybe the conditions of the current system and so forth?
What it is on this system, this was installed, we're not sure how long ago. It's a Simplex system, which if you know about fire alarms, Simplex basically owns their own company. And when you install a Simplex, you have to use the Simplex distributor, which in our area is Johnson Control. And no other company, they can change the strobes, the pull stations, but when you get in the panel box, the boards, anything, it has to be by a Simplex distributor. And what we ran into with Simplex, when they come out, they charge you a flat rate of $200 an hour just to look at it. With this Kidde, the 33523, it can be worked on by Pi Barker, Chattanooga Fire, Johnson Control. Anybody can work on these. They can order parts, they can install them, and they can program them without having to have a Simplicity dealer to do that. So that's, and with this system, they're going to be replacing everything. Will be new in the courthouse, every floor.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Very good explanation. All right, any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve this purchase order?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the purchase order is approved as submitted. Okay, this right here is a consulting master service agreement with U.S. Services, Inc. This is a engineering company that has a specialty, has done a lot of work in and around roads and bridges and drainage and so forth. And so we've had several conversations with them. I know that Commissioner Askew's had some engagements with them in his career. This is a very reputable company. This is an agreement that just forms the relationship. There's no monies being expenditured at this time. There's no commitments of any projects or any scope of work. This is just their formal agreement. This has been reviewed by our attorney. He's given us the green light as far as the legal aspects of this agreement. Any proposals or any projects or anything over $25,000 with this company would come back before this board. So this is just to form a relationship, get them set up as a vendor, and then as we move forward, this just gives us another option, another vendor option for working with on our roads and bridges and right-of-ways and drainage systems and so forth. So any further questions or concerns about this agreement?
No, sir.
You got anything?
No,
additional?
I just add that, I know that you had some detailed conversation with them as well, and we kind of had started some of this conversation over some of our bridge replacement, culvert replacement that we're pushing to try to stay ahead of our paving. And I think these guys may be able to help us identify out a little further out in advance on some of the stuff maybe for next year's paving project in the year following. So I think it'd be wise to have them on standby. And they're very local and they're very well tied with DOT and know the rules and regulations pretty well,
I
so.
think you were most impressed with their knowledge base.
Very, very much so. I went out in the field with them and actually walked several sites and went with them and was impressed enough that I felt like it'd be good to bring them on board as, have them there as an extra tool if we need them.
Very good. Do we have a motion to approve this service agreement?
I'll make a motion, we approve the service
Okay,
agreement.
we have a motion by Commissioner Askew. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agreement is approved as presented. Okay, now we have our monthly statistical data report. We'll cover some of the highlights here. Our animal shelter, 111 dogs came in to the shelter and 55 cats. The outtake through adoptions, rescues, and returns was 88 dogs and 83 cats. Unfortunately, we did have to euthanize 3 cats this month. Code compliance, we found inspections of 1,223 properties that were in compliance. They did write 15 citations, but were able to also close out 13 cases and getting 13 properties into compliance in our county. One section that we have added new due to requests from our elections office is registered voters in our county. And so Ms. Danielle was very gracious to go back and pull the history, since we show history on this report all the way back to 2016, where you can see each year the number of registered voters. For those at home or don't have a copy of this, as an example, back in 2016, we had 34,206 registered voters. In 2020, there was 43,719 voters. Thus far in 2021, a grand total of 44,599 registered voters in Walker County. That was generated, a little history here, 45 of those registrations come to them in July, 208 of those come to them in August to come up with that total of 44,599. One thing that is driving these registered voters is now when you go and renew your driver's license or get a driver's license, you can also register to vote at the same time. So when people are going to get their license done, they're being asked, is that an option? Or being presented that as an option, and obviously many are deciding to do that, so they're getting a lot of registrations across the state when people go to get their driver's license. Our fire department was very active with 494 responses handled by 824 responding units, installed 15 smoke alarms. Roadside trash was 7,680 pounds. Nights stayed at Mountain Cove Farm with 17 nights were booked out in the month of August. Single-family homes, again, 2 months in a row, 15 new single-family home permits pulled. So that gives us a total for the year of 102 single-family home permits pulled in the unincorporated area. So that does not include the cities. This is just in the unincorporated areas. We had 140 new followers to Facebook. We added 77 new members to our e-newsletter. And even though we have been doing lots of paving, we're still patching potholes, 329 potholes with all the roads that we have. Total trips on transit is up, which is good because we've been able to add a few staff members. Transit's running very well. 1,703 trips on our transit. And I want to brag on our transit folks as well. You know, throughout the entire pandemic, transit has not been closed not one day that they were normally scheduled to operate. They have operated every single day and have taken a lot of precautions because we have a lot of people in our community that rely solely on our transit system for so many trips, you know, from doctor's appointments to food to haircuts to everything in between. So our transit staff has done a phenomenal job of keeping those vans rolling to move our citizens where they need to go. So hats off to our transit staff. Over the last however many months we've been into this pandemic, they have been strong and steady all the way as a critical service of our county. So at this time, we'll move right into our commissioner comments before we go into an executive session. So we'll start with Commissioner Blakemore for any commissioner comments.
Just appreciate everybody coming out. The more it gets engaged in your government, the better we can make decisions. If I can be of any assistance, please call, text, email. And the vaccination, the health department will be back in Rossville September 17th from 9 to 12, offering the free vaccinations, Moderna or Pfizer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Same thing, I just want to thank everybody that does stay involved and stay engaged with us. The more information and the more public input we have, the better it helps us. And so just please continue to do that. Ms. Janice, thank you for that, the great news on reaching across the state lines with TWRA. I think that's awesome. So be sure to shout out to Mike Cameron for making that happen as well. Just appreciate everything. If y'all need us, like I said, call, text, or email. Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Hart.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to add, tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the courthouse, there's a 9/11 remembrance. And if you've never been to that before, that's a good event Walker County puts on. It's the 20th anniversary, so if you can make it, that'll be an outside event, so look forward to seeing you there, Robert.
Thank you, sir. And I want to thank everyone for coming and watching on Facebook. And just to reiterate what Commissioner Hart said, hope to see everyone tomorrow at the Patriot Day in front of the courthouse. It is certainly a wonderful event, a sad day, but come on out and let's all pay our respects to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice as being a first responder. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, to that event tomorrow in front of the courthouse, that is an outdoor event, so you can social distance. We do ask, you may want to bring a lawn chair or something if you don't want to have to stand up this whole time. There will be some seating provided, but it may not be adequate. So if you want to be guaranteed you got a chair, bring your bag chair with you so you don't have to stand up the whole time. But that event probably will last somewhere around 30 minutes or so. So it's not going to be too terribly long, but it is something that's very important, and it's become a good tradition here in Walker County that we do this every year. And it's always well done by the team, so we're very grateful for that. Also, I want to remind people we do have a public information meeting next Monday at the Civic Center, and that is at 6 o'clock, where we have the developer coming that's looking at doing the Gateway project up on Happy Valley Road, so that is open to the public. For those that are not able to make that or just don't want to be in that large of a crowd potentially, we will be streaming that live on our Facebook, and so therefore it will also be archived on Facebook where you can watch that any time. But Joe will be there streaming that. For people that's unable to make that or need to watch that at a later time, we will be sharing that on Facebook as well. Also, again, thank you, Miss Janice, for your hard work with the wild animals. That's a big void in our community, and thank you for getting that worked out. It's interesting sometimes how our state governments across state lines don't always communicate and collaborate as well as they do, and sometimes it just takes a little effort by someone to make stuff like that happen. So thank you, and also to Representative Cameron for working with you on that. So that's great news. Very excited about that. So at this time, I would like to make a motion that we go into the executive session of the board to review some personnel matters and also some real estate matters with our county attorney. So I make that motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a second by Commissioner Askew. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will adjourn, and once we are finished with our executive session, we will come back out to close out our meeting officially.
Hi, I'm Joe Legee, Public Relations Director for Walker County Government. The board has just entered executive session. This is a process that allows elected officials to discuss a specific, sensitive topic behind closed doors. These are topics that are exempt from the Georgia Open Meetings Act. Executive session topics must fall into one of three categories: litigation, real estate, or personnel matters. In terms of litigation, the need may arise for the board to consult with the county attorney on pending or potential lawsuits, settlements, claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions brought by or against Walker County government, its officers, or employees. Real estate covers discussions regarding the future purchase or acquisition, disposal, or lease of property. Personnel matters would cover the discussion or deliberation on the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, or dismissal of a Walker County government officer or employee. Now, if a vote is needed pertaining to an issue discussed in the executive session, it must be taken in an open meeting. Otherwise, it is not binding.
Okay, it is officially 9:24. It's still Thursday, September the 9th. We've just exited our executive session, so we'll call us back in order. There is no additional official business of the board tonight at all, so do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Hart. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.